question for you is, when did you want to go into the military first off?
That's a good question.
What was your motivating factor, or what aimed you to go into military?
That's a great question. So I was 18 going on 19 and just going down the wrong path. Just, you name it, drinking, drugs, getting in fights, obviously, regular fights. Just doing a lot of stupid shit. Bad childhood, boohoo, poor me. I tell everybody I'm an Irish Jerry Springer show. And just my whole life, I was always told I wasn't big enough, fast enough, strong enough, smart enough. And, if I didn't join the military, I was doing roofing. We were talking about that yesterday. I was doing roofing. And
I thought you said roofies.
No, I just wasn't happy. And I'll never forget it. There's a guy that worked with me that was 29 years old at the time. I thought he was like 40. He looked older than you. And no, I don't mean that as a dig, but he was,
wow.
No shit. No shit.
I think that was a pretty good dig.
There we go. I was like,
me in the balls. Huh?
Yeah.
You start to him.
You started, motherfucker. But we're up on the roof and he's a great guy. And, he was he was a pothead, but he was a great guy, and he lived paycheck to paycheck and this and that. And I remember he told me, he's like, you know what, man, this is not for you. There's something more. And I don't know what it is. And it kind of really resonated with me. I was like, this is not what I want my life to be. And I started looking around and I was, on the way going to jail, doing a lot of stupid shit. And I looked in the military. I went to the Air Force. Originally, I went to the Air Force and literally I took my ASVABs. Wow. Don't even ask.
What is the ASVAB?
ASVAB is a test to see what your placement would be. I didn't place very high. I wasn't good at taking tests. If mechanical, if a train's going 80 miles an hour east and another one's going 90 miles an hour west, I don't know. I've never been on a fucking train. So give me another question, and there was questions about 3 holes in a boat. I don't know. I just try to fix all the fucking holes. But I went around to the recruitment center and I went into the Navy and I saw this pamphlet for Navy SEALs, right? And these guys would look like monsters. And it was like the hardest training in the world. And I was always a super aggressive, super competitive kid, right? But I was always competitive with myself. I mean, I'm always trying to beat me. Does that make sense?
No, you basically set goals for yourself.
Yes,
so that you're in competition with each other.
Yeah,
I get
right.
it.
And then whoever gets in your way, you're not competing against them. You're just trying to better yourself. And if you happen to knock somebody out, it happens.
Well, like Dan Gable, you come out of the gym better than when you
Exactly. My steel church. And I just went in there and I looked at the recruiter and I said, swear to God, I said, this is what I want to do. And he looked at me and he goes, you'll never make it. Wow. And I was like, wow, you're a shitty salesman, bro. But instead of giving up on myself like everyone, my mother, everybody told me you're never going to make that. We just heard stories. I just used my mindset to conquer. And I say this to myself. I'm not saying this to you two, obviously, but it's like, fuck it. You can do this, Ray. And then it's fuck you. I say that to myself, not to you.
Right, yeah.
That, if somebody else did it, I can do it, right? That's my mindset, my mantra in life. If he can do it, why can't I? Like with everything. And in Buds, I went to Buds. And I didn't just go to Buds right away. Some of these guys just, they go in and they're PT specimens and they're really fucking smart. Not me. I had to take the ASVAB test 3 times. It took me 3 times. You have to wait 6 months each time to take this.
Year and a half.
Yeah, year and a half. And the second time I took it, God is my way. I missed it by 1 point. Everybody said, that's your calling. You're done. Wow. And, that's where I kind of had that mind shift that we talked about, because I used to try to prove everybody wrong. Mm-hmm. But then something switched. The switch came on and it said, I looked in the mirror and I do these self-reflection drills and I'm like, no. Stop worrying about them and start proving to yourself that you're right. So then what I did was I asked for external help, right? I had plateaued out. I was reading the books. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't chasing ass. But I just wasn't, my brain wasn't doing what it needed to do. So I reached out to a gentleman by the name of Wine One Conklin, who's still a hero to me this day. And I said, I need help.
Was he a SEAL at the time?
No, he was just a regular Navy guy who was wicked smart, who could help me get he was like a yeoman. So he was like an administrative person. And he set me up with all these night courses, right? I'd work all day and then go to school all night. And true story about this, and this is one of the most impactful moments of my life. The final third time, he's like, listen, you're going to take this 3 times, and it's like 3 strikes, brother. And I'm like, okay. So I took it. I'm an E1, so I'm nobody, right? I'm like not even hair on balls. I'm like below that. And I'm standing in front of him, and he's at his desk, and he was reading something. And he didn't even look at me, and I wasn't staying attention, but he's like, how do you think you did? Like, I don't know. Dead silence. He's just, he's playing it up. And he just looks up at me, he goes, congratulations, you made it. And the first thing I said was, what was my score? And this is what he said. Don't worry about what your score is. Worry about what you're going to do now. And it really, I got goosebumps right now. And to this day, he still won't tell me what that score was. But he did tell me, listen, you didn't crush it. So, but my point is, and that's what I tell people. And I use that same, I don't judge a man on what he has done. I'm going to judge a man on what he's doing or what he can do. Right. We had this, and that's what he said. He goes, the time is yours now. And when I went through Buds, man, I mean, it was do or die for me. It's 138 of us started, 16 original made it. I started with my class and I finished with my class. We had 51 graduate, but these are like legitimate guys that break bones or, hype out or something. Nope. I want the fucking, straight. The quickest way to success is a straight line. 6 months, get me in and get me out. And what I think was, where I'm going to kind of circle this all back around was the horrible childhood, what happened to my father, the not having the real supportive mom, not having people really believe in me is where I think I developed my own mindset that some journeys you just got to do by yourself, right? I mean, and I did it. And now my goal is instead of having young men and women go through this alone, I told you today I did almost 1,400 push-ups. I want to do it with you. Because there's only 2 types of leaders in the world. You both know this. Do as I say, not as I do. Or do as I say, do as I'm fucking doing, right? Like, perfect example. If you tell me how to hit somebody, teach me how to hit somebody. And then hit me and show me how it works. Don't hit me hard, but that's what leaders do, right? They lead. And what I always tell people is just because someone screwed you over or fucked you over or didn't do you right, that does not give you the right to continue that tradition. That's a shitty tradition, right?
Yeah, totally agree.
You do a lot of great things.
Well, that's what a lot of people won't understand that. But I mean, it's you've been able to set the stage for yourself to where now you can use your life and what you're doing just to make a positive influence.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that they're just lost.
Yep.
And they're looking for some type of leadership. Some people.
Yep.
Are attracted to different types of people, ways that they respond to. But anymore, I think you need that shock and awe.
I agree, sir. And I tell people all the time are like, your father was murdered and this and that. I'm like, and they're like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. And I mean, I know when I say this, sometimes I get some lashbacks from it, but it's like, if that didn't happen to me, I don't think, and again, I'm not saying I'm like something awesome. I wouldn't be the man that I am today, right? Like,
correct.
I was beaten really bad as a child. I don't beat my kids, right? I don't need to. I was mentally abused. I was physically abused. I was emotionally abused. I don't do that to my kids. I don't do that to my wife. I decided enough is enough. And it's the thing. What most people do in life is, like a dog, right? You beat a dog enough, eventually that dog is going to lash back. Well, what I decided to do is I was going to go away and heal and come back and be the best fucking dog I could be and help other dogs so they don't have to experience that type of trauma. Because men, I'm just talking men now, and humans have 2 things. They have an inner bitch and they have what's called toxic cognitions. Inner bitch is fear, doubts, and frustrations. That's it.
Okay.
If you're a father, I have fear. Doubts, whenever I try, every morning that I get up, I have doubts like, holy shit, but here we go. And frustrations, I'm married. I have a daughter. I worry about money. I worry about, who's in office. I worry about all the shit. Of course I have frustrations, but I continue to be the best version I can. But then I also have toxic cognitions, which are demons, right? Some PTSD. You do a lot of bad shit. Eventually it's going to catch up with you. If you've been treated like a dog, if you've been mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually, and sexually abused, you can't outrun that demon. You can't. But what you can do is turn around and face it, name, claim, and tame that bitch and say, okay, I'm not alone, right? Just because I was abused doesn't mean I have to abuse someone else. And, and that's a lot of these groups that I do is it's just an accountability. I just think men need to be held more accountable and responsible for their own actions and realize that if they have had a horrible childhood or things have happened to them, hopefully it's not their fault. And number two, I tell people, you and you alone have the power to change and be who you want to be. And if you don't, right, 99% of the world's problems can be solved by looking in the mirror. And if you don't like what the fuck you see, then change it.
Yeah, that's it's an easy thing to say,
but it's a hard thing to do. Yes, sir.
A lot of people, because of whatever their addiction is or whatever their bad habit is, it's a very difficult thing to do. It's again, I'm really big about setting goals. I'm really big about having accountability. So a lot of people can't do it for themselves, but maybe you have to get a buddy. Maybe you have to get somebody that will help hold you accountable to those things. Like what you were saying before, to achieve success or to break that barrier. I mean, it was part of our conversation of yesterday. I had 7 other brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Okay, so to think, the thought of asking my parents for money to go to college never entered my mind whatsoever because my parents they've got 8 kids. They're trying to keep them clothed. They're trying to keep them going to school. Things of that nature. So I'm thinking, it's my first thought was that I had a couple of my friends on the wrestling team. They had older siblings that basically upon high school graduation, they graduate, they went into the military, and then came out and went to college on the GI Bill.
Yes.
So that was actually option number 1. I'm thinking, that's exactly what I'm going to do. But by my sophomore year, I had the first of the college coaches that are looking at me as there might be some scholarship money. I'm thinking, wow, we have option number 2.
Options.
So I always talk about options, trying to create options. And so once I got this option number 2, it's like going, well, I've got a couple more years to try to explore and exploit these options.
Yeah.
And that's what I spent more time of, going to more camps, training a little bit more, setting my goals for myself. And it worked out towards upon now high school graduation, now I've got this opportunity to go to college.
Yeah.
And on an athletic scholarship. Bingo.
It's good to have options.
It is. It's when you don't have options that people feel like I have no way out. Yeah.
Keep an eye on Don. What's funny is I sit here. You guys know I had a podcast with Jason Redman, and Jason Redman is well articulated, and he's always looks the part, and he's just very well to do.
Wait, why are you looking at me when you?
I'm giving you things, and then there's me. There's Ray Cash Care. There's, just got up. Fuck the hair. I'm here. I've got cigar shit all over me, and I love it because you guys are literally Jason and I. Salt and pepper is what we call ourselves.
Well, yeah, the martial arts says yin and yang.
Yin and yang, yeah, and I love it. I love the.
Well, that's where we'll be. I don't think we really need to be entertaining at times, but there'll be we'll make people ponder some points.
Yeah.
We might make people get a little bit pissed off at times because, just like you said before, there's a lot of people that need to be woken back up.
Yeah.